What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway.
I would have been here sooner, but I was taking a massive shit. In case anybody's keeping track.
And we feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway.
Oh, the timer's way late. I messed that one up bad, huh? A full 4 seconds? Jesus. What was I thinking?
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've
specifically
watched a few
Atsuko, you were
episodes
the one
and
keeping
I'm just
track.
like very intrigued.
It was
But
your
you know what
job.
I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Oh, welcome everybody. I'm Will Bird. This is Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Will Bird. Getting RH wound up, mocking Eli, now watching Will. Good times. That's a recipe for disaster. Thank you guys for joining us. There's major world news going on right now, but the first thing we have to cover, I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't show you the upstanding journalism coming from one Bert Little St. James Lynch. Okay? He actually put on two this man is a machine. Okay? I know that's the last time I took a shit at Tsuko. I told you you're keeping track. Why do you think I announced it? This man is a machine. He did 2 shows. Two shows. You ever seen me do 2 shows in a day? Probably, but that's been a long time ago, okay? I'm getting older now, getting slower, out of shape. Let's check out Bert's latest shows. Not today. I don't want to take the surprise factor away from today's show. We're going to start with yesterday's part 1 and part 2. Are you ready, chat? Here we go. Tuning into the Bert Little St. James Lynch live TV show. I'm thinking about becoming an investor, to be honest with you. All right, so here we go. Just wait on it. Just wait on it. Gooning. Oh, shit. Just wait on it. God, you guys, when part of that mentality, we got to have immediate confirmation, right? Gratification. Just chill out. Okay? It's playing. We're 58 seconds in. It's getting there. He's getting warmed up. Warming up the old shadow giblets or whatever he does. All right, I got to skip ahead. So we're at 1:20, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes.
Me now.
Okay, 6.5 minutes. 6 minutes and 40 seconds.
All right, you guys should be seeing me now. I've had computer problems all day long. Everything is getting picture, no sound. Okay, tell me if you guys can see me now.
Yes. Yep. I can see you. Does he not know he can go watch his own show? Oh. And that is show number 1. Thank you guys for joining us. That was show number 1. That was Bert. Show number 1. Did you miss the cue to clap? I may have talked over it. I apologize. All right, next show, part 2. I bet it's a real barn burner. Here we go. But to back it up to get to the best part.
When you wait.
All right, here we go. Show 2. Let's get in there. Okay, a little Diet Coke action. I'll match it with a little me and my RC Cola. He's a strong silent type. Okay, chill out. We're doing it. We're here. Are you not even gonna say anything, dude? Okay.
Okay, tell me if you
Okay.
can see me.
We're back. We're back. Tell me if you guys can see me now. I bet you this audience comes running. They've been sitting on the edge of their seat all day for this performance right here. Mariah just texted me and said, Ollie just had me play a fishing game on Roblox with him, and because I don't even understand how to even move around in the game, I was struggling, and Ollie said he felt like he was dealing with a handicap. All right, back to the show. I don't have it paused. He's just setting still. It's playing. Okay. And
All right, so
okay, here we go.
I'm
We're
waiting
back.
for the audience to fill back in. You're
gonna come running.
booted. I see that Ann Gallagher is in the room. Let me know if you can hear me. I have the lights off for a reason.
Okay, why are the lights off? You have the lights off to see if people can hear you or not? Does it affect their ability to hear you?
There's a 30-second delay or so, so I'm trying to find out if you can hear me.
I hear you.
All right, I'm just going to... Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's
Okay.
about a 40-second delay.
Oh my God.
So come on back in the room, everybody. We had over a...
Imagine having the nerve to call anybody out. Will's got a green screen, not a professional studio like mine.
100 people watching. It says 170 when I go over to Rumble.
Okay, at least. He's got 170 people watched him on Rumble. He gets 3 people in the comments.
So
Lights up.
first thing
That's like
I
a
gotta
jump
do is
scare.
I gotta wait for some more people to get in the room
Yeah.
so somebody
Who could imagine performing a show for 3 people?
can tell me where we were in the show when we got kicked off, because Rumble is still buffering and won't show me the first part of this
Okay.
show. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's how a video works when you live stream
know
it. It takes a second for it to upload.
If I don't know at what point you guys couldn't see me anymore.
Fox just resubscribed for 8 months.
Thank you, FR Fox. I appreciate it.
I just happened to start the Alex Jones clip that I was playing, and I was in that clip about 8 minutes, 7 or 8 minutes.
Right.
And I looked up and there were 0 total people. And
right, I made sure I told Atsuko I took a shit today. She's been keeping up with them for us.
There hadn't been a comment for 17 minutes.
Before you got in here.
So I don't know when I lost the audience, and I can't go back and review it. Rumble, you suck.
Ah,
okay.
Rumble.
I'm just going to say it.
Damn it, Rumble.
So we've got 13 people back in the room now, and I've still only got one person making comments. So Ann says she got booted, and she's been telling me that every night, that she gets booted off. And I guess because you're using Wi-Fi.
I don't know that it's a boot. Maybe Ann got fisted. Ann got fisted. Somebody earlier in chat said sagging and gagging.
Or is I don't know if your computer is not able to pull up anything, or if you're getting booted off of Rumble only, and are you able to still like go over to Facebook?
Phil just makes up problems with Rumble when he doesn't want to stream because his audience is retarded, and he doesn't have this many problems.
You can see it live. That's what you need to test the next time. So you can report back to me if you don't mind.
Are you kicked off just Rumble or the entire internet? I need to know.
That I'm still online, but I'm not on Rumble. That's what we need to find out so that I can bitch at these people.
Okay. Bert and his 3 chatters and his 5 live viewers are going to make policy changes at Rumble by complaining.
Because if you got booted off of the internet, then that's an internet issue.
Imagine only shopping at Walmart twice in your life and going into a board meeting and telling them how to redesign the store.
Your house. If you got booted out of Rumble and you still are on the internet, I need to know that. So I appreciate it very much.
Okay.
If the next time you get booted, do that little simple test for me. And we've got 17 people, but not a soul has made a comment in the room yet. So in other words, only the haters have come back.
Oh, man. Just the haters? By the way, Bert had to admit I was funny the other day when I caught that video of his like smile starting at the corner of his eyebrows and compared him to the Grinch. He's like, now that's funny. That is good, clean comedy right there. I do look like the Grinch. But mysteriously, that video got accidentally deleted. It was weird. He also called Mariah Satan.
I'm going to give it about 5 more minutes. And if that's all that we get is just Ann's.
Dude, it's only going to be painful for you, right? You could give it 55 more minutes. There's going to be 2.5 comments.
Gallagher's comments. I'm going to call an audible and just end the show.
I would.
Because it's...
You already had that really strong 10 seconds of that 7.5 minute video. I would just end on a strong showing.
30. That's what I say when I'm frustrated. Bert, I think you may have gotten booted right before you played Alex. Well, I played 2 Alex in a row.
You didn't play anything. You said, you should be able to hear me now. Let's see here. And then the show stopped.
Just Jesus Christ Loves Us. I played 2 Alex. It was Alex Jones with General Flynn. Did you see that one? Because I would go back and view it and be able to tell you myself.
But damn Rumble. Rumble won't show it to me.
My episode from the other night got deleted. Because when I went in and tried to play it, apparently
he knows you, Jay Bird.
It got deleted.
Jariah.
It's hard out here for a pimp.
What? What?
Deleted. It's hard out here for a pimp.
Technically a true statement. It is hard out here for a pimp.
So
I added what? I didn't add anything. He said it.
we've gotten 2 comments. Thank you for that information, Jesus.
This is the same guy that went on a 3-minute rant. Oh, let me show you. He went on a 3-minute rant the other day saying that anybody that uses a straw is a homosexual. Anybody that uses a straw is a homosexual and you could never be laid.
Glass. I think men look gay as hell using straws.
Now, the dildo's been added, obviously.
I see these guys in the bars with their straw bent over on their cup and they drinking their little drink. And I think to myself, how do you get laid? Seriously.
I get so much pussy, I put it on layaway, Bart.
You soy boy, how do you...
Stock that shit up for the dry spells.
It's just really weird.
Just really weird, I guess.
Christ loves us, but can you remember which Alex Jones clip?
No Alex Jones clips. You literally had 7 seconds that you were live. You've played no Alex Jones clips. It was a show we just watched.
I got I lost the broadcast on. Was it with General Flynn? Or was it after the General Flynn and going into the FBI story? Because unfortunately, I don't constantly watch the total amount of people that are in the room. I'm busy with
What the fuck just happened?
9 or 10 other things at the time. I did see Flynn got booted before you played. I didn't see Flynn. Okay.
You didn't play anything.
So I got booted during the General Flynn thing.
So Bert's telling people that he had like a 30-minute show, and all that they saw was that 7 seconds where he's like, you should be able to hear me now. Well, and then it just cuts off. He was just doing his show regardless.
All right, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some music.
I would.
And see if some people get in the room, all right?
Oh, don't do it, Bert. No one's coming, dude. Either just say, I'm going to do my show even though I don't have any support, or I'm quitting. But every time you're like, I'm going to do this so some more people can join, or I'm not leaving until we get 10 more likes, or I'm not going to continue until this. It never happens, dude. It just makes you look bad, Bert.
I'm going to show you guys a video.
You're not a child. You're a man.
This is an ad. This is not the video.
So many layers to go outside and get the.
Now give us about 4 minutes to wait for the room to fill back up.
It'll fill up, I'm sure, any minute now. Especially when you're not even on screen and you're playing the same song that you wrote 30 years ago. That'll really bring them in. I can't do the song again. Ooh. Ooh. Ah. He says every time he plays this, he gets a standing ovation, and that means it's so good because I said it sounds like shit, right? Of course he does it. These like super patriotic events. Like, who's not going to stand up and clap for basically Bert remixing the national anthem? Like, come the fuck on, obviously. To help with Bert's ongoing battle with stage 4 throat and neck cancer, please go to bertlynch.com and click on the GoFundMe link. That was fucking 5 years ago.
Okay. So
Okay. How many people joined while your music was playing? Let's guess. You got 70, 80 people in there, all of them chatting?
we only gained in that 4 minutes 2 more viewers, and one of them left. I've only had
We got 2 new viewers, and one of them left. Damn it, Bert.
2 comments in the room.
2 comments on the whole show.
I think, folks, that this is beating a dead horse tonight.
Yeah, you heard it from him, folks. Bert was beating off a dead horse and had to end the show.
I did the best I could, but I did we lost the audience. We lost everybody that was on here.
You lost the audience is gone. Now, people are like, well, I'm watching and I would comment, but your moderators banned me. That's the messages he's getting.
Oh, man.
Now, Bert only got 2 comments. He only had 2 people join and one of them left. And he has people reaching out to him saying, look, I donate, I watch, I would have commented, but your moderators banned me. You would think if he wants viewers, he wants comments, he'd be kind of sympathetic and say, hey, maybe it was a mistake. I'll see if I can get you back on there. We'll give you another chance, something like that. Nope. You must have been saying something stupid. We don't want you here.
And so many people are complaining. I'm so disappointed. I tried to make a comment and I can't. Well, you said something wrong and you got booted.
There you go. Literally, even if you don't say something wrong, if they don't recognize your name, like you haven't been there long enough, you just get banned. He can't get new viewers because when you comment like first time watching, they're like, get out of here, troll. Okay, now we're just going to text for a while.
All right. So I got people complaining to me they got booted.
Yes, if this is a skit, dude, it would be so funny. So funny.
And they can't get in, and we donated money to you, and you're not letting us speak. So I will check into it. I will talk to the Terminator and see
Okay.
what was going on. Folks, we're not going to do it anymore tonight.
Oh,
This is,
you're going to have to call it.
so this one person is complaining that the reason
Was that a fart? What was that? Not the cough. Listen after the cough. What the fuck was that? I didn't notice that the first time. It could be his phone vibrating. I just thought of that. It could be his phone vibrating. Because it's like it's two, like maybe two of them snuck out.
So this one person is complaining
That was weird.
that the reason that people are not commenting is because maybe they're blocked. Well, if you came in here and you said something smart alecky,
Okay.
you got blocked.
So someone in his chat is literally saying, maybe people aren't commenting because you blocked everybody. Well, stop being a smart alecky.
And the Terminator's not putting up with it. If you said something that was, if you attacked me on my show,
Attacking means questioning, asking where his source is, saying hello, first time viewer, glad to see you, Bert. All that's attacking.
you don't get to be here.
Okay.
No soup for you.
We're still here.
So examine
We're more engaged than any other audience you have.
what you said in my chat room before you complained to me. Oh, I must have got kicked out when I said this or that or the other thing. I will talk to my Terminator.
Look inside. What did you do? How did you fuck this up? Right? Don't ask me why you got banned. Look at yourself. What did you do? How did you fuck it up?
Tonight after the show. We're losing the viewers that we have. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Sorry that the show got kicked off the air by Rumble. I can't tell you. Their tech support does not respond to questions anymore.
Their tech support doesn't respond to people with 2 viewers and literally walk you through. I know they'll respond because they've responded to me. And I don't even know how many viewers I get over there, right? Like, it's just for retention. I know they won't delete it. But I'm sure Bert has probably contacted them 1,000 fucking times with every little question. They're not going to set up the stream for you. That's not what they do.
I have a feeling that Rumble is on its way out the door as far as a viable platform. I could be wrong.
Probably.
But
considering it's the biggest conservative platform that's ever made like this much, it's no YouTube, right? But no other platform has made this much headway or has people on contracts and shit to only like fucking Steven Crowder, Dan Bongino, all these people, right?
if you got a girlfriend and she treats you bad, you start looking for another girlfriend.
Okay.
And so I'm going to start looking for another streaming service for the same reason.
Okay. It took you 2 years to figure out how to fuck this one up. How you going to learn a new one, bro?
So I'd like to thank everybody who tuned back in.
As soon as he told Rumble support that he was the next Tucker Carlson and then asked how he goes live, that's probably the last time they communicated with him. So I'm going to start looking for another streaming service for the same reason. So I'd like to thank everybody who tuned back in. Okay.
I'm singing, follow me.
We'll give this thing a shot again tomorrow night.
I wouldn't. Hang up the headphones, bro. He should start doing gaming content. That's what I'm talking about. He should start streaming Roblox. Mariah can teach him how to fish. And then we're back to the same logo that he left us lacking with on the other show. There you go. Bert's 2 shows, watching the news, so you don't have to. And if you go back to his channel, both the shows where he talks shit about me are gone. Even though he swore up and down he wouldn't take them down, he had to keep... What is going on over here? Who knows? Anyways, that's Burt Lynch, everybody. Your boy Burt. I know I'm a big fan. Hope you guys are as well. Let's see here. Let me refresh this. Damn, refresh, dude. What is taking so long? I feel like I'm pulling a bird over here. Where's my phone number? Here we go. Now let's hold this one. And let's open this one. All right, on to Trump.
You just
On to Trump. Does Trump still not understand fucking tariffs? Does Trump, after all this time, still not understand tariffs? His plan.
on tariffs, you just said with China.
Who are you with?
I'm with the Independent.
Oh, that's good.
It's on tariffs. You just said with China. Thank you.
On tariffs.
We charge them as in we charge China, but the tariffs are paid eventually by American importers and consumers.
No, they're not. No, I think they're paid for by the country.
On tariffs, you said we're charging them tariffs. But tariffs are paid for by the importer and eventually the consumer. No, they're not. I think they're paid for by them. On Zelensky.
You described Zelensky as a dictator. He describes President Putin as a dictator.
You described Zelensky as a dictator who refused to have elections. Why isn't Ukraine having elections? It's in their constitution. When they're at a time of war, they don't have elections. Now, you can argue like America has elections during war. We typically hold on to a president during a time of war, though. But it's in their constitution. They don't. You can't just say, well, America did it, so they have to do it. Like, they don't have elections while there's a war going on. Probably isn't a bad idea, especially for some places that's heavily influenced by the person that they're more than likely at war with, right? That's how the last president got elected before Zelensky. He was basically just a wing of the Russian oligarchy. He was installed by Russia. So the person they're most likely to go to war with is Russia. And if Russia can just put in a fucking, can cheat their fucking election, probably not a great idea. But Trump calls him a dictator because he got all this money from Biden and wants more money, doesn't want the war to end. He's killing his people, and he won't have elections.
You described Zelensky as a dictator. He describes President Putin as a dictator. Do you see that as a problem?
The relationship between President Zelensky and President...
This is called sidestepping the question. You called him a dictator. He calls Putin a dictator. You called Zelensky a dictator. He calls Putin a dictator. Is that a problem? Now he's going to talk about the relationship between Zelensky and Putin?
See that as a problem?
The relationship between President Zelensky and President Putin is not a good one. You've noticed, right? It's not a good one. It's not a good relationship. And we're going to have to try and work something out. Sometimes that happens. I get along with both. I have a very good relationship with President Putin. I think I have a very good relationship with President Zelensky. And now we're doing the deal, and we're going to be in there. We're going to be actually in there and digging our hearts out. And hopefully, we need the rare earth, and we have some here, but we don't have enough. Our economy is very strong, and we need a lot of things that in some cases we don't have here. So I think we're going to have a very good relationship, but the relationship between them is not the best.
Mr. President, do you still think that Mr. Zelensky is a dictator?
So again, somebody has to redirect him. So all he did was talk about Putin and Zelensky's. They're asking about you calling him it. So someone says, do you still think Zelensky is a dictator? Do you still think Zelensky is a dictator?
We don't have here. So I think we're going to have a very good relationship, but the relationship between them is not the best.
Mr. President, do you still think that Mr. Zelensky is a dictator?
Did I say that? I can't believe I said that. Next week.
Did I say that? I can't believe I said that. He's doing a real good job trolling the libs. Like, what the fuck? Yes, you posted it on your account. What do you... I don't think I said that. You said it. You made the post. It was straight Russian talking points saying like he has less than like 4% support, which is not true. He has a majority of the support, at least in all the valid polls. It was basically just like the same thing that the Kremlin's saying about Zelensky. Like, he's a dictator. His people are dying. He won't have an election because nobody likes him, and that means he would lose. And it's just sad to see America, the most powerful man in the world, being reduced to the... Could you imagine if Winston Churchill came to the White House during World War II and saw Roosevelt, and somebody asked about like, oh, well, Germany has hinted at, they just want peace. And Churchill's like, well, I don't know. You can't really trust Hitler and Germany. And Roosevelt's like, what are you talking about? You don't hold the cards here. No. You're not in charge. Have you said thank you? Because that's what happened at the White House today. It was mostly cordial until the very end. Then it was bad. Real bad. Let's see. 49 minutes. That's probably the best one. Here we go.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to have President Zelensky of Ukraine. And we're
going to watch the first. We'll skip around. I'm not watching the full majority of it. But I want to show you that it was pretty cordial. And all Zelensky did was like, for some reason, J.D. Vance butts in the middle of a question and starts talking about diplomacy. And he's like, every time we've tried diplomacy, right, like writing shit down on a piece of paper and agreeing to it, Russia has violated it. And no one did anything. So what makes you think now that they won't violate it? And that fucking set them off, dude.
Very close. So we've actually known each other for a long time. We've been dealing with each other for a long time and very well. We had a little negotiation spat, but that worked out great. I think for both countries. I think for the world, actually, beyond both countries. And we have something.
By the way, Trump says he's in this for peace, right? He doesn't want to see people die. He's not, right? He wants this rare earth metal deal for basically nothing. He doesn't want Russia to concede basically anything at all. And he's mostly concerned about his legacy. He wants to be the one that signed this fucking peace deal.
That is a very...
He even mentions it. He says his legacy.
And we look forward to getting in and digging and working and getting some of the rare earth. But it means we're going to be inside, and it's a big commitment from the United States, and we appreciate working with you very much. And we will continue to do that. We have had some very good discussions with Russia. I spoke with President Putin, and we're going to...
Now, it's always been the case that typically, so like when we saw Trump, he was with different members of Europe, right? And when they start talking about paying or paying back, and Trump says, oh, no, their money's on a loan. They're loaning their money. They're not giving it to you. They're loaning it. Technically, that's true, right? So when we give this money out, it's like in a guaranteed grant with repayment. And what we typically would want to see is that Russia invaded, right? They were clearly the aggressor. When the war's settled and everything's back down, we tried to either implement sanctions or have them directly pay for damages. Now, not to say that Ukraine might not pay some of that, but it's not like Europe is just giving money to Ukraine and saying you have to pay every dime of it back, and America is giving money to Ukraine and saying, just keep it. That's not what's happening. But that's the way Trump wants to lay it out, to where it sounds fucking weird, to where it sounds like we're getting the raw end of the deal. This $350 billion number that they're throwing around is a lie. It's really closer to like 125, something like that. And almost all of it exclusively is equipment. A lot of that equipment is expiring equipment. When I was in the Army, we used to get shit all the time that was going to expire, especially explosives and shit like that was going to expire, that we'd just take out and have a range day, right? We'd go to the field with it. We'd shoot it. We'd blow shit up. It just expires, right? The non-expiring equipment, fucking tanks and shit like that, we take that from our own stockpile, give it to another country, and then we rebuild. And whatever it costs to rebuild that is what we charge as giving to Ukraine. That creates American jobs in American factories most of the time, and it's putting people to work, right?
Trying to bring this to a close. It's something that you want and that he wants. We have to negotiate a deal, but we've started the confines of a deal, and I think something can happen. The big thing is the number of soldiers, mostly at this point, but soldiers being killed. They're losing thousands of soldiers on both sides. We're losing a lot of soldiers, and we want to see it stop, and we want to see the money get put to different kinds of use, like the rebuilding, and we're going to be working very hard, but we've had a lot of very good conversations. I will say until we came along, the Biden administration didn't speak to Russia whatsoever. They didn't speak to anybody. They just allowed this to continue, and I will say that, I'll say in front of you, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, if I were president, this war would have never happened. We would have had a deal negotiated for you without having to go through.
Well, when you were on the trail, you said that you would have it settled within 24 hours and it'd be done.
What you've gone through. But your soldiers have been unbelievably brave. We've given them great equipment, but somebody has to use the equipment.
We're not giving them cash. No. I mean, the vast majority of it is equipment. When they say we're giving $7 billion more or whatever, no one's writing them a check for $7 billion or handing them $7 billion in cash. There is some direct financial stuff for stuff that we can't supply them with that they're going to go buy. But 99% of it is fucking tanks and explosives and launchers and aircraft or whatever we're supplying them with. We put a dollar value on that and say we've given them this much in aid. That's why we don't say we've given them this much in cash or we've given them this much in dollars. It's aid.
Been unbelievably brave, and we give them great credit. This was supposed to be over very quickly, and here we are 3 years later. So I give tremendous credit to your generals and your soldiers and yourself in the sense that it's been very hard fighting, very tough fighting. They're great fighters, and you have to be very proud of them from that standpoint. But now we want to get it over with. It's enough, right? We want to get it over with. So it's an honor to have you here. Thank you very much for coming. We're going to sign the agreement at the conference in the East Room in a little while, right after lunch. And we'll be having lunch together. We're also discussing some other things, and we appreciate it.
A lot of the cash is humanitarian aid, field hospitals, stuff that we can't do. We provide them cash to provide their people with a lot of aid.
Everybody being here, it's somewhat of an exciting moment, but the really exciting moment is when they stop the shooting and we end.
Yes, that's not the question you asked. Yes, we build those back in factories. Some of it's expiring shit that we were building anyways. Other things, we rebuild a fucking tank. We rebuild whatever it is in factories. Yeah.
Up with the deal, and I think we're fairly close to getting that, and an honor to have you, and please, I'd like to say something.
No, thanks so much, Mr. President. Thank you for the invitation, and really I hope that this first document will be a first step to real security guarantees for Ukraine, our people, our children. I really count on it, and of course we count that America will not stop support. Really, for us it's very important to support and to continue it. I want to discuss it with details further during our conversation, and of course the infrastructure of security guarantees, because for today I understand what Europe is ready to do, and of course I want to discuss with you what the United States will be ready to do, and I really count on your strong position to stop Putin, and you said that enough with the war. I think that is very important, Vin, to say these words to Putin at the very beginning.
And all this stuff about these generals buying yachts and shit, every bit of that was made up. It's all been investigated. Every bit of it was made up and came straight from Russia.
Very beginning of war, because he's a killer and terrorist.
Russia's goal is to turn the general U.S. population against any help for Ukraine and have us demand that of our politicians. And it's working, right? There's a ton of people that's like, well, what the fuck? That's Ukraine. Why don't we take care of Americans? I heard they were buying yachts and they all lost their mansions in the fire in L.A. Stupid shit.
But I hope that together we can stop him. But for us, it's very important to, to save our country, our values, our freedom, and democracy, and of course, no compromises with the killer about our territories. But it will be later. And of course, what I wanted, we spoke about it by phone with you about the drones production. We have very good drones production. I think
he's also going to say something about Obama gave you sheets. So back in the Crimea thing, Obama was very worried about giving lethal munitions to Ukraine and how that would potentially be perceived by Russia. And everything was very tense around Crimea when it happened. And he did do like $600 million worth of aid or something, but it was night vision goggles and it was non-lethal munitions, right? It was night vision goggles, bulletproof vests, defensive shit, like defensive anti-mortar radar and systems and shit like that. It was no offensive equipment. It wasn't just sheets. There was humanitarian aid. There was blankets and food and shit like that, but it wasn't sheets.
The best one in the world for today because of the war. Yes, and of course we need very much the air defense. You have the best air defense in the world, and really you helped us under attacks of Russia.
Javelins expire? Yes. Everything that expires has somebody said a propellant in them. Anything that all that expires. You don't think javelins expire?
And I want to speak how we can exchange the licenses. We're open to share the licenses of all our drones with you, of course with the United States, and we need licenses for quick production of air defense. Even after the war, we need our nation to be calm, that we are secure. So that's why we need this.
I think every like big, not like regular ammo, right? Like 50 cal ammo or 7.62 or something. Every big explosive ordnance I think that I've ever fired in training was because it was either already expired or about to expire. It costs money for us to dispose of that. If we don't send it to the troops to train, which there's no way, we just have too many of them expire. We can't have every soldier shoot 10 of these a year, right? Logistically, it's impossible. But we try to, right? We try to get them to the field to use for training missions. But the ones that we don't, they have to be disposed of properly. It costs money to dispose of them.
Air shield. And of course, about this, I want to speak about the contingents. I think that France and UK already spoke to you, and we know that Europe is ready, but without the United States, they will not be ready to be as strong as we need. And then the last point, last not least, about exchange, about our people and children. And you know that this crazy Russian, that they stolen 20,000 of children, Ukrainian.
Yeah, and they do. EOD does it, munition destruction, and they do it for training sometimes. But a lot of times, it never even makes, like Raytheon's still holding on to some shit in a warehouse they have. You know what I mean? Because we've always got to be ready because ramp up time takes so long. So like if war breaks out in 3 months and ramp up takes 9 months to get them to the field, then we have to have like a fucking at least a 6 month supply, hopefully like a 9 month supply. But yeah, I've seen EOD do it for training as well.
They changed their names. They changed their families, relatives, and now they're in Russia. We want to bring them back. And really, it's a big dream, task and goal for me and our warriors. By the way, Mr. We exchanged, yes, released more than 4,000 warriors from Russian prison, but there are thousands more in the prison. I wanted to share with you some images. How it's just can I now?
Yeah, please.
Some minutes, 1 minute, 1 minute.
The starting point should not be compromises for Ukraine. The starting point should be remove your fucking troops from the other sovereign fucking nation. That's the point. That's the starting of negotiations. It might not end up there, but that's where we should fucking start. Not just, we'll just freeze it here and everybody stop shooting and you give us your rare earth metals and everybody calm down. Just chill out.
Just you to understand in what circumstances, in what situation they are, and what the attitude of Russia to our prisoners. That guys, just you before and after.
Yes, all the Epstein stuff was a big, gigantic nothing burger. They went from look at our binders. This is the most transparent administration that's ever existed. Well, they're going to be arrested, and all these crazy posts they made. They all seemed the same, like they were talking points. And then when it come out that all this information was already available and everybody already had it, then they started blaming the deep state. The deep state hid it from us. The FBI, there's pockets of deep state within the FBI hid it from us. We had no idea.
And you see before and after, just you to understand. Now thousands of such guys, ladies and men, there, and that's so they don't eat. They beat them, and they, a lot of bad things. So out of even during the war, there are rules. Everybody knows there are rules during the war. So these guys, they don't have any rules. You see that 50, 60 kilograms left, and a lot of such things. And I didn't want to show you what the changes with images of children, because I will just share with you. And I mean, it's looking tragic.
Yeah, that's tough stuff.
Yeah, I don't want it very much to give you.
He's got a bunch of pictures of the tragedy of war, right? Alleged war crimes, right? Like civilian targets in schools, and he said not the children, but...
You see it? Yeah. This is pastor, by the way. They stolen pastors because it's not Russian church. They stolen pastors and moved pastors to the prison. We, at the end of last year, we brought 3 pastors, and we could exchange them. And this is pastor, you see.
Yeah, and stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, this I wanted to show you, and yes, so thank you very much.
We want to get that entered, right?
Yeah, of course. We will.
I think we will. And
we have to, of course.
Do you have any questions, President?
Thank you, Mr. President. With the, how much money is the U.S. going to put into the fund that is being created today, and how does this provide long-term security for Ukraine?
Well, we don't know exactly how much, because we're going to be putting some money in a fund that we're going to...
In a perfect world, Ukraine should get all of their sovereign territory back, and Russia ought to be like, the world ought to tell Russia, like, hey, if you do this again, fuck you. It's just not going to happen.
Get from the raw earth that we're going to be taking and sharing in terms of revenue. So it's going to be a lot of money will be made from the sale and from the use of raw earth. And as you know, our country doesn't have much raw earth. We have a lot of oil and gas, but we don't have a lot of the raw earth. And what we do have is
rare earth.
Protected by the environmentalists, but that can be unprotected. But still, it's not very much. They have among the best in the world in terms of raw earth. So we're going to be using that, using it for all of the things we do, including AI and including weapons and the military, and it's really going to very much satisfy our needs. So it's something that just worked out really well. We have a lot of oil, we have a lot of gas, we have a lot, but we don't have raw earth. So this has just about every component of the raw earth.
There are some weapon systems that, as long as they're sealed, like the way they came from the factory, then they go back in and put like a refurbishment kit on them. There are other weapon systems that they have to be destroyed. They just expire. Whether that means using them for training or fucking blowing them up somewhere and disposing of them, they just expire.
That we need for computers, for all of the things we do. This puts us in great shape.
And long-term security for Ukraine.
I think they're going to have. Wait, look, I think once we make the agreement, that's going to be 95% of it. They're not going to go back to fighting. I've spoken with President Putin, and I feel very strong. I've known him for a long time, and I feel very strongly that
he talks about this guy that like they've got some like long lost love affair or some shit, especially at the end.
About it, and we'll make a deal. And when the deal is made, I don't think we talk about security. Everyone's talking about the other day. All they talked about was security. I said, let me make the deal first. I have to make the deal first. I don't worry about security right now. We have to have a deal, because right now, last week, 2,000 soldiers died on both sides. 2,000, and they're losing.
And again, the point that Zelensky brings up is like, the diplomacy's great, but is there something to hold him to it? Because we've done this before. We've signed papers with other world leaders. And the world leaders say, "Oh, they won't violate it. They won't break it. They won't breach it." And then they do, and then everybody's like, "Oh my God, they did it," but do nothing.
1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a week. So as we sit here and we talk, people are getting shot and dying on the battlefield. And you know, they're not American soldiers, but they're Russian soldiers and they're Ukrainian soldiers, and we want to be able to stop it. And we want to be able also to spend money on other things. We don't want to. This is a tremendous amount of money, and what the Biden administration did was terrible. They were giving money, but they had no security on the money. Europe, as you know, gave much less money, but they had security. It was in the form of a loan. They get their money back, and we didn't. And now, at least we're protected because the American taxpayer has.
Again, that's not how it works, right? They're going to ask Russia to pay the majority of it. Ukraine is free to pay it or not, and the rest of it's going to be forgiven.
Protected too, but this is an incredible agreement for Ukraine, because we have a big investment in their country now, and what they have, very few people have, and we're able to really go forward with very, very high-tech things and many other things, including weaponry that we're going to use in many locations, but that we need for our country. This allows us to do that.
I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead, please.
If I can just, yes, in the document there is one of the very important points. If we speak about business and investment, we never had LNG terminals in Ukraine. This document will open. I mean, the next document, but anyway, here we see in the framework, we see a really good deal for this. LNG terminals for us is very important, and I think for security of European continent. We have the biggest storage, gas storage. We have the biggest in Europe, yes, and we can use it. Use for LNG.
LNG they have a huge resource of LNG to get it out, pop it out, ship it out, and get it to fucking Europe, especially.
Use it for LNG.
Remember the winters they've had heating crises and the pipelines fucking exploded and all that shit.
And really, we can help Europe because Europe really helped. President Trump said that they made less support, but they have our friends and they are our very supportive partners. They really gave a lot, Mr. President. They did.
They gave a lot, but they gave much less.
No.
Much less.
No. No.
Mr. President Trump, you have repeatedly called the deal with Ukraine as a historical one. And as a president of the United States, you make historical decisions in other issues which affect America and other world. So what place in the world history do you want to take? And do you associate yourself with any famous historical figures?
Yeah, I'd say George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. I would say I'm far superior to George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Now, you know I'm only kidding, right?
So from the New York Post, it says defending Ukraine in its war with Russia has cost $280 billion so far. This is from February 25th, so a few days ago. And the U.S. has contributed more than any other country. President Donald Trump has raised concerns about the cost of the war in Ukraine in recent days, and the topic dominated his Monday meeting with French President Macron. Countries around the world have donated billions to the Ukrainian war effort since Russia invaded the country in February 2022. But the two largest sources of funding are the U.S. and 27 country bloc of European Union. And then we got an infographic. It says military aid, $67 billion from the U.S., financial aid, $48 billion, humanitarian aid, $4 billion, for $119 billion. But if you take the EU as a whole, they've given $53 billion in military, $68 billion in financial, and $17 billion humanitarian for 138. So what's already been paid out is 119 versus 128. This is from the Kiel Institute. It's the Ukrainian support tracker, the EU versus the USA. So honestly, pretty evenly footed. Europe as a whole versus the United States.
Because when I say that, the fake news is going to go wild. They're going to say he considers himself to be better than Washington, but you never know. You never know. I don't compare myself to anybody. I'm here to do a job. We've had a great 35 days or whatever it might be, a month, a little more than a month. We've accomplished tremendous amounts. Not only this would be a very great achievement if we could get the war stopped and get them back to normalization. I think that's
we've by far given more than any other single country.
Going to happen. We've had very good talks on both sides, as you know, but I think we've done a very good job. Just generally, if you look at all of the things we've done in 30 days, they're saying there's never been a opening for a president. The first month, there's never been a first month like we've had.
I don't know if links are on. You might have to send it to Ahmad, or you can email it to me if somebody dropped my email. I don't think hyperlinks are on right now.
And this is one of the very important things. This to me is one of the most important things because
you could try. I don't care.
As we speak, and I don't want to have that. Think of the parents. Think of the parents.
I thought the protest was on the 14th, not the 4th, but I'm probably wrong.
In Russia or Ukraine, think of the parents of all these people being killed needlessly.
They came to our territory.
Should have never started. This would, if I were president, this would have never started.
We continue sending military aid to Ukraine after the U.S. signs this agreement with Ukraine.
Will you continue sending military aid to Ukraine after this agreement?
The question to President Zelensky: do you feel like the U.S. is on your side? That the President Trump is on?
Oh, I didn't show you guys the image. Here's the image. This was data all the way up through the end of the year, so 12/31. Aid from the U.S. is broken down like this for 119 billion bidden, and aid from the EU as a whole is 138 billion. So when he's like, no, and he's like, much less. Well, not really. It depends. If you say one country, sure. But if you're going to say Europe, then no. It's probably pretty even. If not in favor for Europe.
Your side at this moment.
What do you think?
He wants to know, do you think that, sort of a stupid question. I guess we wouldn't be here if I wasn't.
I think that the United States on our side from the very beginning of occupation, and I think that President Trump on our side, and of course, I'm sure that the United States President will not stop support. This is crucial for us. It's important for us. Yes. And Putin, the President, speaks about the people and the soldiers which are dying, but they came to our territory. They came to our land. They began this war, and they have to stop. And I think this is the question, with really the most important question: can President Trump, I hope yes, with some other allies, to stop Putin withdraw these enemies, our enemy, withdraw these troops from our land? And I think that you asked about the history. I think that if President, or when he will stop Putin, if President Trump will bring peace to our country, I think he will be on this wall.
We've had very, very good talks.
President Zelensky just said that there will be no compromises with Vladimir Putin. I just wanted to ask both of you. Firstly, are there compromises that you think that President Zelensky is going to have to make? And President Zelensky, is there anything that you might be thinking that you may be able to offer or bring to the table, for example, elections? Thank you.
I think Zelensky still needs to keep saying there's no compromises until they're in a room together. If he already starts saying like, well, we're willing to give up this, we're willing to give up that, before they've even negotiated in a room together, I think he needs to continue to say there's no compromises. I think that Trump needs to continue to say, well, we'll just have to wait till we talk to each other. Right? We just have to wait till we're in a room together and see what happens.
You're going to have to always make compromises. You can't do any deals without compromises. So certainly he's going to have to make some compromises, but hopefully they won't be.
Yeah, the language barrier is always an issue. Yeah, for sure.
As big as some people think you're going to have to make. That's all. That's all we can do. I'm here as an arbitrator, as a mediator to a certain extent between two parties that have been very hostile, to put it mildly. They've been very hostile.
I think that's the stance Trump needs to keep. Like, if he comes out and says, okay, well, yeah, I think he's going to have to give up the land here, and it seems like they're pretty well entrenched there. He's probably going to have to give up that town, and that all that does is hurt his power going into the negotiation. Zelensky needs to keep saying no compromise, the same way Putin's saying no compromise. And Trump needs to keep saying, look, we have no idea. We just need to talk. We need to get together. We need the shooting to stop, right? The war to pause, ceasefire, whatever you want to call it. And we need to talk.
It's been a vicious war. It's been a vicious war. You know, it's a very level battlefield, and those bullets go out, and as I've said many times, we're talking about it with Pete, many times the only thing stopping those bullets is a human body. And in the case we're talking about, generally young human bodies are stopping a lot of bullets. It's dead level. That's why it's great farmland. It's great land. It's great farmland, but there's very little protection.
Dude, I know. The argument that Ukraine doesn't see it this way, the vast majority of Ukraine doesn't seem to see it this way. If you look at polls, you look at anecdotal evidence, people talking about it, they seem like, imagine that someone invaded the United States, okay? Imagine someone fucking lands in Florida, and someone else comes and tells you, I got the email, I'll check it out. Someone comes and tells you, like, we're fighting against fucking, who cares? It doesn't matter. Some other country. They landed in fucking Florida, and we're fighting. And there's a stalemate, and there's a lot of death. And someone comes and tells you, too many people are dying. Yeah, that might be true, but they're ready to defend their country no matter what. Right? There is no limit to what they're willing to leave on the battlefield. Like, it does suck, especially from the outside looking in, but from the inside looking out, that's all they've got left.
Against the bullets that are being, and other things that are being shot. So all I can do is see if I can get everybody at the table and get an agreement. I think we're going to end up with an agreement. Otherwise, I wouldn't probably be even here today.
Mr. President, I've got two questions for you. You think ultimately your legacy will be the peacemaker and not the president that led this country into another war and ended foreign wars? And I've got a question.
I hope it will. I mean, I hope I'm.
Here's the link with the manifesto they were all talking about.
This would be a great thing if we could do this. I'm doing this to save lives more than anything else. Second is to save a lot of money, but I consider that to be far less important. So I hope I'm going to thank you, Brian, for that question. It was a nice question. I hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker.
Yeah, Russia's totally winning on their fucking stalemate where they're losing pieces of their homeland.
This would be a thing to solve. This is a very dangerous situation. You know, this could lead to a third world war. This was headed in the wrong direction. If this election were lost, and we didn't win this election, and we won it by a lot. That was a mandate. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. We won everything. The districts, if you look at the areas of red, take a look at a map. This was a big mandate, and this was one of the things. I said, we're going to get this thing settled. If we didn't win, I think this could have very well ended up in a third world war, and that would not That would
when it first kicked off, they said they were going to be there. They were going to be in the Capitol in 2 days or some shit like that.
Situation. What was your second question?
My second question for President Zelensky. Why don't you wear a suit?
I think the longer it goes on, the more likely Russia is to win. But the longer it goes on, the more likely someone to depose of Russia's government as well. They've got a real problem shutting down the war now. Their economy is basically a wartime economy, right? That's where all their that's where all their fucking money's going. That's where all their jobs are focused. That's where all their young people are. And they shut it down now without substantial gains and a way to revamp their economy. And a bunch of young people come home, trained fucking killers on the battlefield, and they go to being unemployed and hanging out every day. They'll have a fucking revolution on their hands.
Why don't you wear a suit? You're the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not respecting the dignity of this office.
I will wear a costume after this.
This is so fucking stupid. You don't have a suit? You couldn't wear a suit here? You couldn't have a suit? I'm wearing a suit. You couldn't wear a suit?
See if you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not respecting the dignity of this office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish. Okay. Yes, maybe something like yours. Yes, maybe something better. I don't know. We will see.
It's so fucking stupid. Like, no one ever asked Elon Musk why he's running around in a t-shirt with his kid fucking swinging around his neck.
Maybe something cheaper. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, President Trump. You said yesterday, are you going to send more arms to Ukraine?
They've got a picture of the guy who asked him. He's like standing over here on the very edge. Some guy in a blue suit. I don't know who it was, to be honest with you.
There's no peace. Yeah, we're going to have arms to Ukraine. Yeah, sure. Hopefully I won't have to send for him.
I liked his answer. I'll worry about the costume once the war's over. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
Much because hopefully we're going to have it finished. We're looking forward to finishing this quickly. We're not looking forward to sending a lot of arms. We're looking forward to getting the war finished so we can do other things. But we very much appreciate.
I'll post that link in our Discord too. I didn't think about that. The Medium link or whatever it was.
The agreement because we needed what they had, and we're treating, our country is now treated fairly. Biden didn't do that.
Putin doesn't get to put red lines on other sovereign nations. Sorry.
He didn't know what the hell he was doing. This should have never happened. This should have never started. But, sure, the answer is yes, but hopefully we won't have to send much because I'm looking forward to getting it done quickly, very quickly.
Does that provide security guarantees, Mr. President?
I don't want to talk about security yet because I want to get the deal done. You fall into the same trap like everybody else. A million times you say it over and over. I want to get the deal done. Security is so easy. That's about 2% of the problem. I'm not worried about security. I'm worried about getting the deal done. The security is the easy part. Security is very nice. Everybody stop shooting. And now will Europe put people there? I know France.
You're naming our president and an enemy. So no, I don't think that Stalin was nice to Roosevelt. I don't think that Mao was nice to Eisenhower. The same way I wouldn't expect Trump to be licking fucking Putin's dick.
France is going to. I know the UK is going to. I know other countries are going to, and they happen to be right next door. We haven't committed, but we could conceivably. We have security in a different form. We'll have workers there digging, taking the raw earth so that we can.
Rare earth, again, but that's not security. Russia doesn't give a fuck if you got a mining crew there.
Create a lot of great product in this country. So in that sense, you have something, but we haven't determined that yet. I will say, in speaking to France and in speaking to, and they were here, as you know, last week and just the other day, they have committed to a lot of security. I don't think you're going to need much security. I think once this deal gets done, it's over. Russia's not going to want to go back, and nobody's going to want to go back. When this deal ends, I really believe this deal is going to be over. Question? Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. President, thank you. You had U.S. Senator Macron and Keir Starmer at the White House this past week, both of whom praised your courage and conviction to lead the pathway towards peace.
Yes.
Part of that involved, though, re-engaging Russia in diplomatic relations. Something that
I think that J.D. Vance didn't have an answer. Well, first of all, he doesn't like being questioned at all. He talks about diplomacy, and he's like, what do you mean by diplomacy? They've crossed every line that everything we signed, they violated it. What do you mean about diplomacy? I think that pissed him off. He wants everybody down on their knees thanking us. Never ask a question, never disagree, never nothing.
previous leaders lacked the conviction to do.
Could you imagine being that motherfucker's wife?
Gave you the moral courage and conviction to step forward and lead that?
Oh, I love this guy. Who are you with?
One American News, sir.
Well, that's the way I like him. One American News does a great job. I like the question. I think it's a very good question. It's a path.
I missed the question.
And diplomat Keir Starmer at the White House this past week, both of whom praised your
question. Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. President, thank you. You had U.S. Senator Macron and Keir Starmer at the White House this past week, both of whom praised your courage and conviction to lead the pathway towards peace.
Yes.
Part of that involved, though, re-engaging Russia in diplomatic relations, something that previous leaders lacked the conviction to do so. What gave you the moral courage and conviction to step forward and lead that?
Oh, I love this guy.
The moral courage and conviction to re-engage Russia with diplomacy.
Who are you with?
One American News, sir.
Well, that's the way I like him. One American News does a great job. I like.
OAN.
I think it's a very good question.
Because it had like 30 fucking compliments for, you're so amazing. You're the only one that could ever think of this.
It's a pathway to peace. It's a pathway to getting something solved. And I feel that as the head of this country, I have an obligation to do that. Plus, we're very much...
Yes. Not only, it's not just fucking Twitch. They're fucking everywhere, dude. Over on TikTok, I posted something kind of poking fun at a senator that responded to Zelensky. And like it was full of fucking bots. That didn't even have shit to do with like what I was talking about. They like one person posted and like 14 fucking comments underneath it having a complete different discussion about fucking yachts and shit. Like the joke I was making was like all this performative rage over Zelensky saying like Russia's bad, right? They don't listen when they sign a deal. They haven't historically. And they were talking about some shit about fucking generals buying yachts and spending the money. And like the comment was made, and like 2 seconds later, it had like 30 fucking replies underneath it, all agreeing with them, talking about, yeah, and I saw over here, and then I read an article over here. They never linked to them.
We got involved. It's too bad we got involved.
Dude, Shane, there's a guy on TikTok that it's the guy with the mullet and the grill, but he works for like DOD contracts. He was in a live stream the night before last with Ryan Fournier or whatever the guy's name is, the Young Republicans guy. And he got tipped off about this bot network. Like they track a bot network and they can see when it's active and where it tends to be going on the internet and when they're using it. And it was in that Ryan Fournier, his live stream. And typically these bots don't speak. They chat, right? But they don't speak. And one of them hopped up in the live stream on TikTok and was talking about living in, saying you could tell they had like an American accent, a pretty American accent. But they were talking about living in Syracuse, New York, and how upset they were about sending all our money to Ukraine or whatever. And he said after a few minutes, he could tell it was a bot. He could tell it was probably a Russian bot. So he hopped into the live stream and is like, oh, yeah, where'd you say you were from? And they're like, Syracuse, New York. And they're like, oh, yeah, Syracuse. What's the mascot of Syracuse? Like asking them like different questions. Like everybody knows that if you live in Syracuse, you know that the fucking orange man, Otto the Orange, is like the Syracuse mascot, right? Dead silence. Didn't have an answer. Then he asked him, if you were going to such and such town, if you left Syracuse and were going to such and such town, would you go north or south? Dead, no answer. So then they kick him out of the live for asking these questions that anybody that lives in Syracuse their whole life could fucking answer. And all the bots in the chat started attacking him for questioning our good friend that's always on the live stream. Like it was very clearly a setup. And actually jumping into live streams and speaking as if they're American, which is crazy. That's like a whole nother level than just a bunch of stupid comments defending shit.
Because there should have been no involvement, because there should have been no war. And there shouldn't have been October 7th. That would have never happened. As you know, Iran was broke. They had no money to give to Hezbollah. They had no money to give to Hamas. They were stone cold broke. And then under Biden, they became rich as hell. They went from no money to $300 billion in a period of 4 years. And they gave a lot of that money away, and you see what happened. And that's a real mess also that we hope to be able to solve. But no, I appreciate your question very much. I feel I have enough to try and do something to stop the death.
If I can answer. Yes, if I can answer. Sorry. Please.
And I do like your clothing, by the way.
Yeah, really?
Even though I think he's a great guy, by the way. But I don't know if you two like each other, but you know what? I think
I like this guy.
I think he's dressed beautiful.
So I have more serious things than answer one side question.
Exactly.
I will answer on more serious question if I can. Yeah, so please, about security guarantees.
Tim Pool wore his beanie in the White House to meet Trump. No one said shit. Well, I did, but like no one there said shit. This guy just came from his country being fucking invaded. And they're like, you don't own a suit?
And about just ceasefire. We can't just speak about...
And that's almost like the setup, right? That's almost like the setup. Like they want it in your mind that he has no respect for the office, no respect for the White House, no respect for you as Americans. And then this fight, this little spat adds on to it. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird that question was even asked. Of all the questions you can ask, like, where's your suit? Do you own one?
Ceasefire and speak, it will not work. Just ceasefire will never work because I'm like a president. I have this experience, and not only me. Ukraine before my presidency from the 2014, Putin broken 25 times. 25 times he broken his own signature. 25 times he broken ceasefire.
But he never broke to me.
25 times he's broken a ceasefire. His own signature. He will come to negotiate. He will sign, and then he'll just say, fuck it. The one thing that Shane was talking about in his live stream today, the one thing that Putin did really well is in the 89, 90, early 90s, right? He saw that how big the internet and how big disinformation and how big that's going to be. And they've based everything on it, right? Of course, they have their news, their fucking state-owned news and RT and all that shit. But man, do they have an extensive bot network. And the way that America failed was like, the FBI is like, well, you know, this misinformation online isn't really our department. And the NSA is like, well, you know, it's not really our department. We're talking about criminals committing crime, you know. And then the CIA, who's probably there, this infiltration and espionage, basically, done online with bot networks. It's just as effective as if we. So Ryan McBeth has an example where he says we have a plant that manufactures our bombs, right? Now you can bomb that plant like we did in like World War II, right? You can bomb that plant and take it out, or you can convince a bunch of protesters that they're doing this and that and wasting money and show up and shut that plant down with protesters, and it could be just as effective. It's an effector, which is a term about war. It's an effector, but it can be just as effective as other means of like kinetic warfare. His argument is that we should target these people as if they're active combatants, kinetically target these people. And he's made that argument in front of a bunch of world leaders. It should have been probably the CIA's place to counter this, but the CIA is mostly concerned with only operations outside the United States and nothing, you know, homeland style. So it kind of fell through the gaps of what agency should be in charge of monitoring for these bot networks, of counteracting these bot networks, and staying on top of it.
Simply Steve 2012 a subscription.
Thank you for the gifted sub.
Anonymous user gifted a tier 1 sub to Simply Steve 2012.
Thank you for the gifted sub. Who is in charge? And it still seems like to this day, it falls on the private sector if they want to do it, if they don't want to do it, if they can even recognize it, if they have the ability to know when it's happening. Like there needs to be somebody in charge, because that's a lot of modern warfare. And it's only going to be bigger and worse the more entrenched we get into social media. And it still doesn't seem like we have an answer. Like, these are our people that we understand when there's a cyber attack and they knock out like a hospital and blah, blah, blah. FBI gets involved when they're holding records or whatever. But what about when they're swaying the American populace? Maliciously doing it. Yeah, it falls on somebody. I just don't know who. And I don't think they know who either. And when we go to Congress, like, they don't even understand how fucking TikTok works. They're like, if I'm on TikTok, does that mean China's in my Wi-Fi's? Like, what the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? You're like 9,000 years old. You don't know how the internet works?
No, you were the president. You were the president. In 2016, you won't be the president, Mr. President. You've been the president, but he had, of course, not with you. But he had, during those periods, he had conversations with our side. And we had Normandy format, you know, the France, Germany, Ukraine, and Russia. And he broke it 25 times. That's why we will never.
So he's saying he broke some of the agreements while you were president. They weren't with you, We had France, Germany, and Russia help us sign one. You know, he broke that one, right? He's and not when I was president. Yes, when you were president. They weren't your agreements, but it was when you were president.
Except just ceasefire. It will not work without security guarantees. Security guarantees, maybe President is right about this document and other, but this document is not enough. Strong army is enough because his soldiers afraid, Putin's soldiers afraid of our soldiers when we're strong enough. If we are not strong enough, if we are empty, if our storage is empty, we can't defend our...
You can tell Trump's getting pissed. But he's saying, like, a ceasefire will not work unless there's a fucking stick to the carrot, right? Why the fuck would they agree to a ceasefire when there's no stick if they violate it? Which is what's happened over and over and over and over and over again. Russian state media snuck in. Like, that's insane. He wasn't on their approved list. He hadn't been verified. And he snuck in.
Our elect.
It's crazy.
He knows that we have, all the world knows that we have meeting, yes? Why he's using ballistic? Putin today using ballistic on our hospitals, schools, and etc. Ballistic. So he knows that we are here and that President Trump is really have goodwill to stop this war. And you hear now the president. So why he's using? So he doesn't want to stop. He doesn't want. But I hope that we will do it. Really, we'll do it. Security. When we speak about security guarantees, when the Europeans are ready for contingents, they need USA backstop. If there will not be United States, we will not never have any contingents, strong contingents from the Europeans because they don't want to divide alliance connection between the United States and the main and strongest.
MTG is Margie Taylor Greene.
Alliance and Europeans. And this is crucial. This is important. That's what we want to speak about.
I see that, Thomas.
It's very important. And air defense. So air defense, really, we have big deficit with all these systems, and we need to provide this. We need it very much. Otherwise, Putin will never stop, and will go further and further. He doesn't want. He hates us. You know, it's not about me. He hates Ukrainians. He thinks that we are not a nation. He thinks, and he shared this thought. I think maybe with your team also. I don't know, but with all the Europeans in media, officially and not, he always said that there is no such country, such nation, such language, and such life like Ukrainian. No, he really doesn't respect all the Ukrainians, and he wants to destroy us. And you're right, Mr. President. That's 2%. This document, maybe other documents. It's a very good start, very good, but it will not enough to stop this person.
You know that Biden was deporting more people at the end of his administration than Trump has since he started his major roundup, right? So when you say open borders, you sound handicapped.
This is the rule. This is the rule of the war. This is the rule of the war. During all the centuries, all the history, this is the rule of the war. Who began, those pay. This is
anybody whoever started the rule, they pay for it.
Putin began this war, he has to pay all money for innovation. He has to pay. Of course, some Russian assets, what we have in Europe, about 300 billion, we can use them. We can use for innovation and buy military support from the United States also. We can do.
He says while repeating every Russian talking point that's ever existed. Oh, you guys are in an echo chamber. Got it.
But it's not enough. It's not enough.
Wait, one second. I asked this question that you didn't like because I wanted to know if you want to position yourself in the middle between Russia and Ukraine or on the Ukraine side.
No, I'm in the middle. I want to solve this thing. I'm for both. I want to get it solved. And it's wonderful to speak badly about somebody else, but I want to get it solved. If we can solve it, great. If we can't solve it, they're going to have to fight it out, and who knows what's going to happen. But I want to see it get solved.
May I follow up with one more question about U.S. troops in Europe? After Russian invasion of Ukraine, your predecessor sent additional troops to Eastern Europe, including Poland, my country. Yeah. Are you committed to keeping these troops on the eastern flank of NATO in the future?
I'm very committed to Poland. I think Poland has really stepped up and done a great job for NATO. As you know, they paid more than they had to. They are one of the finest groups of people I've ever known. I'm very committed to Poland. Poland's in a tough neighborhood, you know.
What about the Baltics?
The Baltics. It's a tough neighborhood too, but we're committed. We're going to be very committed, and we're committed to NATO. But NATO has to step up, and the Europeans have to step up more than they have. And I want to see them equalize because they are in for far less than we're in, and they should be at least equal. Do you understand that? Why is the United States? We have an ocean in between. Why is the United States in for so much more money and other things as Europe? With that being said, and as you said, they've also been obviously very helpful. But we have put in far more than they have, and I think they should equalize.
Mr. President,
please go ahead.
about the agreement today. What changed between the first time that Secretary Besson gave President Zelensky the agreement and today for the signing?
We made a deal.
So what was the
deciding factor? I'm a business person. We made a deal. That's what changed. I didn't think we were going to make a deal, and we ended up making the deal. So that changed.
Mr. President, how do you envision that?
Yeah, we had fucking COVID. right? Biden even tried to keep in, what was it, Title, whatever it was, until the courts shut it down. At the end of the Biden administration, probably the last 5-6 months, they were as low as what Trump was on his highest months.
Bilateral summit with President Zelensky and Putin.
I don't know, but they don't like each other. I can tell you that. They do not like each other. This is not a love match, and it's unfortunate. That's why you're in this situation. The United States should not have allowed this to happen. Okay, the United States, run by a man that didn't know much. I'm going to be very nice. Run by an incompetent person, very incompetent person, should never have allowed this to happen. I've stopped wars. I've stopped many wars. And people will tell you I stopped wars that nobody ever heard about. I stopped wars before they ever started. You can look at some of. I could give you a lot of nations that would tell you right now they were probably going to war. I could tell you.
If the border was such an issue, we would have passed the border bill. Trump shut it down.
Right now, there's a nation thinking about going to war on something that nobody in this room has ever even heard about. Two smaller nations, but big, still big. And I think I've stopped it. But this should have never happened.
About sorry, just a second. About any negotiations. First of all, I want really to tell you, and I think that everybody understands that Ukraine, more than Ukrainians, nobody wants to stop this war. But at the future, any negotiations, it's understandable that two sides of the war, not Russia and the United States, because this is not the war between Russia and the United States. This is war of Russia against Ukraine and Ukrainian people. So these two sides will be at will be at the negotiation table. Then of course United States, like the strongest partner of the Ukraine, and of course Europe. I think Europe is very important. I want to speak about it with the president. Yes, Europe is very important for us because we really defend Europe for today. All Europeans really recognize.
So he's just recanting like, yeah, we no concessions or whatever, but we're going to be at the negotiating table. But it's between us. We're going to be there, and then America's going to be there, and Europe's going to be there.
That we are defending line, and they have real life, and our people are dying. That's why they helped us. And also, it's about the NATO. Yes, between, like the president said, you have big, nice ocean. Yes, between us. But if we will not stay, Russia will go further to Baltics and to Poland, by the way. But first to the Baltics. It's understandable for them because they've been in the USSR. You know, they've been one of the republics of the USSR, and Putin wants to bring them back to his empire. It's a fact. And when he will go there, if he will not stay, you will fight. Your American soldiers. It doesn't matter. Do you have ocean or not? Your soldiers will fight.
Mr. President, would you be willing to visit Ukraine, maybe Kyiv or Odessa, which is going to be a 30-year-old Lexi?
It was my question.
I don't want to talk about Odessa now. Let's not talk about Odessa. I want to talk about making a deal, getting peace. We don't have to talk about Odessa, but a lot of cities have been destroyed. There are a lot of cities that are not recognizable. There's not a building standing.
No.
And a lot of things
have you have to come and to look. No. We have very good cities. Yes, a lot of things have been destroyed, but mostly cities alive and people work and children go to school. Sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes closer to front line, children have to go to underground schools or online, but we live. Ukraine is fighting and Ukraine lives. This is very important. And maybe it's Putin is sharing this information that he destroyed us. He lost 700,000 people, 700,000 soldiers. He lost everything. Yes. So,
Mr. President, one more.
Please go ahead.
When did you last speak with President Putin? And what did he say?
A couple of days ago.
And what did he tell you that gave you the assurance that he wanted peace?
Well, that's what I do. My whole life is deals. I know pretty good. And I've known him for a long time. I've dealt with him for a long time. He had to suffer through the Russia hoax. You know, Russia was a hoax. It was all Biden. It was nothing to do with him. So he had to suffer through that, and he was able to do that. I think that he wants to make a deal, and he'd like to see it end. That's all I do. That's what I do. My whole life, that's what I do is make deals. And I'm in the middle of a mess because this is a real mess. It's a very dangerous one. If this doesn't get solved now, it's not going to get solved for a long time. So I hope we're going to get it solved. In the back, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Prime Minister Starmer claimed repeatedly that his government believes in free speech and is not engaged in censorship. But his country's government arrests people for memes and thought crimes, and even more worrisome is pressuring American companies to censor Americans on his behalf. How can he be a reliable, trustworthy partner when he says things that are demonstrably false on such important topics?
Well, we actually spoke to him about that yesterday, and we thought they took it very, very much too far. JD was very strong on it. So was I. So was Marco, and we've been speaking to him about it. Marco, would you like to say something about it?
We have concerns, obviously, with the conduct of theirs, particularly as it impacts Americans. And there's real concern that American speech, which is online, could fall into the hands of British or any country's jurisdiction. And so this is a point the Vice President made in Munich, and I think it's a very compelling one that unites us with Europe, as much as anything else, is these shared values, and one of them being free speech. And so if Americans are threatened by it, we're going to need to take action in that regard.
The border bill, sent money to fund everything that's going on, right? More agents, more adjudicators, more judges, the ability for ICE agents to make calls right on the fucking border if it was night and day. Like, the border bill was good. It was bipartisan support for it. Everybody supported it. They talked about passing it until Trump called and told them not to.
anything else is these shared values, and one of them being free speech. And so if Americans are threatened by it, we're going to need to take action in that regard.
It's actually a very important question.
We spoke about this in detail with the Prime Minister, the Foreign Secretary, and others at lunch yesterday, and I know that Secretary of Commerce Lutnick followed up.
J.D. Vance was dying to get in
private meetings last night. This is really important. We believe Americans have the right to speak their mind, even if we in this room disagree with them. They have the right to speak their mind in the public square, which is often online these days. And we're going to defend that right as it pertains to American companies and American citizens vigorously if we have to. I do think that under the President's leadership, we're going to find common ground with our friends in the UK on this question, but it remains to be seen. The principle that will guide us is we believe in free speech in this country and we'll fight for it for American citizens.
Mr. President, on the deal, is there any other oil and gas component to the deal? Is it all
A little bit. We'll see.
On LNG?
Oh, we're not really looking for that so much. We got a lot. We have more than anybody in the world, by far. So, no, we're not talking about it too much, but a little bit. I think it affects also, but for the most part, no.
And, sir, is there any agreement from Ukraine to purchase U.S. LNG as part of the deal, or is that on the table at all?
No, we don't need that.
I just wanted to ask you about it. You just mentioned that you guys spoken to Vladimir Putin a couple of days ago. Just to be clear, that's a new call, not the one that
I've spoken to him on numerous occasions.
Okay, and how was the latest call? What did you discuss? How did it go?
Are you serious with that question? It went well. I think we're going to have a deal.
On the minerals deal, Mr. President, some of those minerals are in the east of Ukraine, not far from the front lines and in areas that Russia has occupied. Will you direct President Putin to withdraw his forces from those areas if there's U.S. interest?
Well, we'll take a look at the time. We have a lot of area. It's a very big area we're talking about, so we'll take a look. I'll study that and I'll see.
And who would protect those minerals if they are U.S. interests? Would that be Ukrainian forces?
The agreement will protect them.
US
the agreement, yeah, we're signing an agreement.
But what if Russia tries to invade or orders Russian aggression in response?
I just told you I don't think that's going to happen. And if that were going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal. If I thought that was going to happen, I wouldn't make
I just saw somebody timed him out.
a deal.
Some people may wonder why.
They ought to focus on CNN on survival, not asking me these ridiculous questions. Focus on surviving, because CNN's got such low ratings, I don't think they're going to survive. Let's go.
Since I already mentioned Poland. Poland was under Russian control for decades after the Second World War. When I was a kid,
Nobody hates Russia as much as the Poles hate Russia. They're ready. They were ready to go before the invasion.
I look at the United States not only as a most powerful country, richest country in the world, the country that has great music, great movies, great muscle cars, but also as a force for good. And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal? It doesn't work that way.
No one's asking you to call him up and say, you're a piece of shit, or go to the news and be like, this is the stupidest motherfucker I've ever met. But you can't be fucking worshiping him either, right? You shouldn't be praising him either. Just because that works on you. Like, the entire world knows that if you flatter Donald Trump enough, you could get him to agree to anything. He's just outmatched with Putin. Putin was a KGB agent for years and years and years. He's smart. He's good with his propaganda. He's just outmatched.
I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way, so that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
I could be the toughest. You've never seen anybody as tough as me.
I would respond to this. So look.
All right, here's where it goes off the rails. He says, of course, he wants to speak, so Trump gives him the short finger there. I'll respond to this.
Never seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way, so that's the way.
I slowed it down to normal speed, too.
I would respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk.
Talking tough is just telling the truth, right? He invaded Ukraine. Ukraine didn't deserve this. People are dying because of his choices. When you say, like, people are dying and it's on both sides, not really. I mean, what did you want Ukraine to do? Just roll over? We don't want anybody to die, so you can have the country. We're leaving. Like, it all boils down to him invading Ukraine.
chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and
So that's where he said diplomacy. And now he says we tried thumping our chest.
pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Now, Zelensky says, can I ask you a question? Like when you talk about diplomacy, again, we've had all of Europe come together and have him sign deals, right? The Budapest memorandum or a deal, whatever it was sponsored by the U.S., right? He violated that. He's violated everything we've put on paper. So when you talk about diplomacy, that's fine as long as you got a big fucking stick. And this is our stick, and we're not afraid to use it. If you're just talking about diplomacy so I can say we got a deal and there's no stick, he doesn't give a fuck.
Sure. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014.
In 2014, he took Crimea.
So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him.
He says, God bless, but he means like God willing, now President Trump will stop him.
He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014.
2014 and
2014.
Yeah. So he killed.
Dude, they got to give this guy some more Vyvanse or something. 2015. Nope, 2014. I was there.
He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014
and
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
that's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The people.
He held Crimea that whole time, and he kept pushing the limit, pushing the envelope.
Been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel. We signed ceasefire.
I don't think he cut him out. He asked him if he could ask him if he could address it.
All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract.
Oh, you mean when they're arguing back and forth?
That he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed.
So they signed a prisoner exchange. They've signed multiple ceasefires, right? And I'm telling you, like, we signed it. Europe helped us. You know, U.S. helped us sometimes. We've done this. He breaks it, and no one does anything. So if we just sign something now, if he just signs something now, and there isn't some type of consequence that he knows, if I break this, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with a child, right? If you make a rule for a child and there's no consequence for that rule, and the child breaks the rule and nothing happens, how effective is that rule going to be in the future? It's not.
And the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about?
What kind of diplomacy are you speaking about? This set him the fuck off. What kind of diplomacy are you speaking about? What are you talking about? What is the language barrier probably doesn't help. But to me, he's saying, like, what is your idea for this new diplomacy that he's not going to violate, lie about, refuse to be held to?
What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American.
So almost immediately he goes to, it's disrespectful. You're trying to litigate this in front of the American people.
American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems.
Oh my God. Russia is emptying prisons because their first round of conscripts got too close to the oligarchs and they're like, fuck you. So they had to go to empty prisons and are forcing people.
Problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
And this is fucked up, right? Like he said how grateful he is hundreds of times. But to demand, like, you should be thanking us. Not asking questions, not asking about what diplomacy, not saying we want to be a sovereign. You should be thanking us.
Ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens.
So you ask him, have you been to Ukraine? Have you seen our problems?
You bring people, you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing?
You bring them on a propaganda tour, which is basically aligning him back to the dictator comment, like North Korea and Russia, right?
People in your military, and do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
Even he looks confused. He didn't attack the administration. Look at Zelensky's face.
People in your military, and do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning. Sure. First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't.
This pisses him off, but it's true, right? Russia's goal is not just to get 10% of Ukraine, right? Their goal is to, he said it many times, is to rebuild the USSR. They plan to continue after Ukraine. He's promised his people this. So we have this direct influence from Russia. You have an ocean between you, but eventually you'll feel the pressure from Russia, right? You'll feel this pressure. Europe already feels it. It's on Europe's back door, right? Front door, back door.
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning. Sure. First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
Trump takes this as a threat. Like, Zelensky's not saying he's going to put pressure. He's saying that Russia, you'll feel the Russian influence, the Russian pressure, even across the ocean.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what.
God bless, or when he says God bless, he means God willing. But God willing, you won't have a war.
We're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. That's exactly what you're doing. You're in no position.
Did you hear Vance there? Did you hear that? I'll back up. So he said, I'm not telling you. I'm answering his question. I'm not. He said he's going to feel Russian pressure, and God willing, you won't have a war. He said, I'm not telling you. I'm answering his questions. And J.D. Vance goes, that's exactly what he's doing. Listen in the background.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
That's exactly what he's doing. It's like a couple 8th grade boys like hyping each other up to get in a fucking fight. It's like children.
In no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel.
He couldn't possibly dictate what you're going to feel. He's not talking about himself. He's talking about Russian influence.
Feel very good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of
this is fucking embarrassing, dude.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's back to you, far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once?
And this is fucked up. Of course he said thank you. Like, he's done entire addresses to thank the world, right? He's went to our Congress and thanked every fucking citizen, right? He's thanked the president. He's thanked everybody that he could possibly thank.
No, in this
Even
entire
today,
meeting, you said thank
even
you.
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Again, it's two children. It's two fucking children.
Can I answer? Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
I said thank you here.
You threw
I
this
said
stupid president $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave, but they had to
president.
use our military.
What about
if you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak-
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days.
So the campaigning for Kamala Harris stems from Zelensky was invited to tour a munitions plant in Pennsylvania, right? And he went there and thanked the employees because a lot of the munitions were coming from there.
This is something
Maybe
new
less.
in 2 weeks. Of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of times to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long.
Oh, the master chess player here. That's why I kept this going so long. I knew J.D. Vance would be a fucking piece of shit eventually, and I could spin it.
You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a
Dude, I think he showed so much restraint for the way he was fucking treated, which is great, right? Like, we got this piece of shit in the White House, like you're going to have to, because anything coming out against him, he's going to take personally. But I think he showed so much fucking restraint.
damn good thing.
Mr.
And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go, and I want this. Look, if you could get...
Even he's confused. He didn't say he didn't want a ceasefire. He's asking, if we have a ceasefire, who's going to keep him honest? What's going to keep him honest?
a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire.
With guarantees. That's the only thing that's going to stop Russia. They've had ceasefires before.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what
That wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person. That was
when Trump describes people as not a smart person, low IQ, he has no idea how dumb he sounds, does he?
was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question.
Dude, I watched the entire statement he did in front of Congress. like he literally think the American people. Like, I know, like, this money's important, and I know, I think it was in winter, so he's like, I know you're concerned with, like, food and heating your home, and we've got people that you're directly helping eat and heat their homes and survive, and, like...
Mr. Vice President, I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks...
Even they want to know. Even the media is like, he's saying there needs to be some consequence for breaking a ceasefire or a treaty or peace or whatever you want to call it. And Trump is like, what if a bomb falls on your head? What do you think is more likely?
Please tell us, what do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia...
Yes, this poor man leading a nation through an invasion and is forced to sit down and act humble to these children. Yeah, it's I don't know, it's disgusting.
breaks the ceasefire.
Well, what if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden didn't.
I don't know. What if they... You can see how disgusted he looks. Again, that's what he was asking for. A ceasefire with guarantees, right? That something's going to happen. A coalition is going to do something. There's some type of consequence. What if he breaks it? I don't know. He breaks it. Got it.
Well, what if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt.
So this is the lost lovers. He went through, you remember Russia? That was me and Putin. Everybody didn't like us, and it was we got close through that.
Used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam.
Bro, is English like your fifth language? Nobody respects Zelensky. This is all about. The fuck out of here, Russian bot.
Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff, it was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war.
In Soviet America, no one respects Zelensky. Fuck out of here.
Through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting.
What is this? What is this?
And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think?
What's this negotiation?
He's a fucking joke.
Television, I will say that. All right. We'll see what we can do about putting it together. Thanks.
When he says you don't have the cards, he says, I'm not playing cards. I'm the president of a country that was invaded in the middle of a war.
I need the back of the We'll see.
I don't think I called him that. Did I call him that? Nah, I don't think I did.
Guys, come on, let's move, please.
Then I think he went on Fox News afterwards.
Welcome back.
Of course, Fox News not going to be very generous to him.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Mr. President, thank you for the time today, especially on this day, to continue to do this interview. President Trump said after your meeting that you disrespected him and the Vice President and all of America in the Oval Office. Do you think you did? And do you think you owe an apology to President Trump?
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for the invitation for this dialogue, and good evening to all your country, to all Americans. I'm very thankful to Americans for all your support. You did a lot. I'm thankful to President Trump and to Congress bipartisan support. And I was always...
That didn't happen. I think you're making a conspiracy out of literally nothing.
Very thankful from all our people. You helped us a lot from the very beginning during 3 years of full-scale innovation. You helped us to survive. And anyway, we are strategic partners. And even in such tough dialogue, and I think we have to be very honest and we have to be very direct to understand each other, because it's very, for us, very necessary.
Most languages are extremely direct and to the point with very little like frill to go around it. So when you come to English, right, and there's all these fucking words that you have to be diplomatic or political or kiss somebody's ass, they just don't translate well.
To President Trump, and I'm with all respect that he wants to finish this war, but nobody wants to finish more than we, because we in Ukraine, we are in
those secret deals he made with secret presidents that prevent him from seeking peace.
This war, we are in this battle, and battle for freedom for our lives.
Oh, Marco Rubio's trying to bury himself in that couch. Then he comes out on Twitter and says, "I'm so glad we got a president who's finally standing up here."
So I'm just telling that I think that we have to be on the same side, and I hope that the president on our side together with us, and that is very important to stop Putin. And I heard from President Trump a lot of times that he will stop the war, and I hope he will, and we need to pressure him with...
He said we've signed deals. Russia always violates them. I've signed deals with them. We've had input from other countries. He violates those deals. There was no secret deal that prevents him from seeking peace. You're just making shit up.
Europe with all the partners. And I think this dialogue had to be a little bit earlier to understand where we are. Like, you know, I don't remember exactly, but like President Reagan said that peace is not just an absent the war. Yes, we're speaking about just and lasting peace, about freedom, about justice, about human rights. And that's why I said that I think so, the ceasefire, and you know Putin, he broken 25 times ceasefire during all...
Broken 25 ceasefires or peace deals or whatever.
Years, 10 years.
So I'm not hearing from you, Mr. President, a thought that you owe the president an apology.
No, I respect the president and I respect American people. And if, I don't know if... I think that we have to be very open and very honest, and I'm not sure that we did something bad. I think maybe sometimes some things we have to discuss out of media, with all respect to democracy and to a free media. But there are things that where we have to understand the position of Ukraine and Ukrainians, and I think that is the most important thing. Yes, we are partners. You know, we are very close partners. We have to be fair. We have to be very free.
I'm told that you were told multiple times from lawmakers on Capitol Hill and the White House to make today about the minerals deal and the economic deal, and then get it signed and let negotiations play out over security guarantees step by step. Is that true?
I said that we have to sign this document, and we are ready for this, and this will be the first step to security guarantees, but it's not enough. I think so. Maybe I don't know something. I don't know some details, and that's why I wanted to share it with the president, my thoughts, and to hear him again, because he has a plan how to stop Putin. And maybe, as I said, maybe it's out of big conversations, but we have to share it. You know, this is so sensitive. You know, just a ceasefire without security guarantees. This is so sensitive for our people. I'm speaking like a president of a people who are in this struggle 3 years, and they just want to hear that America on our side, and that America will stay with us, not with Russia, with us.
Especially when the motherfucker's tweeting out that you're a dictator, that everybody fucking hates you, that you've cost millions of lives in your country. Like, come on. Like, of course he wanted some reassurance from Trump.
That's it. But I'm sure that it will be. This is the first step to security guarantees. Europeans, we don't need to lose them. They are good allies for the United States.
And running down Europeans and fuck, Trump can't do anything without running down everybody else. as if he's the only person who can do anything. Europe's going to be at the table too, I'm sure.
Most or the biggest the need.
It affects them more directly.
Of support and of peace. But we don't need to lose Europe. And they also want to know next steps. We have to be very open to understand how to stop the war.
Right. But do you think the public spat in the Oval Office in front of the media served Ukrainians well today?
I think this kind of spat is I mean this we have. I mean, this is not good for both sides anyway, and I'm very open, but I can't, change our Ukrainian attitude to Russia, and I don't want they kill us for us. This is very, very clear that Americans are the best of our friends, Europeans are the best of our friends, and Putin with Russian, their enemies. And it doesn't mean that we don't want peace. We just want to recognize the reality, the real situation.
President Trump is convinced that you will never sign a deal with Vladimir Putin. Is he right?
No, I think so. What I think, Ukraine wants peace, and we will have anyway diplomacy. We will have negotiations. I only said that I think so. It's about just and lasting peace. It means that we have to be very strong at the table of negotiations, and at this negotiation.
Well, you can either support them now, or support them when they're invading Europe, or support them when they come in for us. It's probably a much better idea to stop them now.
Ukraine and Russia, like sides of this war, have to be, and the United States and Europe. That's what I said. So we are ready for peace, but we have to be in a strong position. What does it mean? Just to know that our army is strong, that our partners with us, and that we have security guarantees. Am I not right?
Leaving the White House today, President Trump said this.
He's looking to go on and fight. He wants to come back right now, but I can't do that.
What do you make of that? Do you want to continue fighting? Do you want peace? And if he had the opportunity to go back to the White House right now, would you do it?
I don't think he would ever. Of course, he doesn't want to keep fighting. But there has to be a stick, right? Right now, he's already offering the carrot. Like, well, Trump's going to let him keep the majority, if not all, of the lands that he's fucking taken. And Trump's getting a carrot because the rare earth minerals. Raw earth, whatever the fuck he calls them. There has to be a stick at some point.
Good. No, first of all, we want peace. That's why I'm in the United States. That's why I visited President Trump. And thanks for the invitation again. The deal on minerals is the first step to security guarantees. It's meant for the peace, closer to peace. That's why I'm here. And we have tough situation. To understand it is to be in Ukraine. You saw it, Brett. You was once. Thank you again. So I think that's very important to understand what's going on. But I respect my soldiers and our people, our civilians who work and support our warriors. I can't say just stop. Nobody will stop because everybody afraid that Putin will come back tomorrow. We want just and lasting peace. It's true. We want security guarantees. We raised this topic about NATO the quickest way, but not all the countries are on this side. I said, okay, if not NATO, nobody is pushing. If not NATO, let's build NATO in Ukraine. That's my position. Europeans are ready to have contingents on our territory, boots on the ground. United States thinks maybe to help, maybe USA backstop have to be just to guarantee that they are with Europeans. Look at Europe, it's strong. It began.
Yes, I believe it. Putin as much as said it to his people. He compares himself to Peter the Great. Says that he's rebuilding. That he plans to expand the empire. Not just the USSR, but beyond.
Stronger, but they also want to have allies like the United States. That's what I said. I just want to understand what the peace. It's not my question, Brad. This is the question from all our people.
You mentioned when I traveled to the front lines with you last year to see the situation, to mark the anniversary of the war, and this is what you told me back then.
Will Ukrainians survive without Congress support? Of course. But not all of us. It will be tragedy for all of us, not only for Ukraine, not only for Ukrainians, for all Europe.
Yeah. So the question today is, can Ukraine win this war or hold off Russia without continued U.S. support?
It will be difficult for us. That's why I'm here. That's why we speak about the future negotiations. It will be difficult without your support, but we can't lose our values, our people. We can't lose our freedom. So a lot of people
Russians came to our territory. You know it. Russians came to our houses, and everybody saw it. Video images, a lot of things. They killed so many people. Just to forget it, just to say that Putin is a great guy. No, without us, we don't want it. That's why we speak about. Everybody remembered how it was the first days of the war, how they came. Nobody wants in Ukraine. Yes, of course, nobody will forget it, but nobody wants to have again new wave of occupation. That's why when we say no NATO, what security guarantees can we have? I'm not pushing. We are not pressuring. We're just asking. We're just sharing very clear messages to our friends, to Americans. Right. If you stay with us, thank you so much. But let's do the infrastructure of security guarantees. Let's just share with our people, that America stay with us. That's great. We count on it. But just to share it and to say it, that's all.
How does the war end? How do you get to a deal? You're at a place right now where there is no deal. How do you get it back on track?
I think that Europe is ready for contingents and to help us with financing of big army, such big as we have now. This is our army is a part of security guarantees. Now we want to find the place for our biggest strategic partner, for the United States or
He said it there and in that interview, and he said it thousands of other times.
The States will propose where and how the United States will give us security guarantees, what kind of and what part of volume of security guarantees. And when we will be ready with this, we will come to diplomacy. Yes, with Russians, Europeans, United States, and we. Four of us. I think this is real way, because with weapon, it's too long, it's not enough. We don't have enough weapon to push them out, and we don't see now, we don't see really big volume of new support from the United States, but with all respect again. So for today, we'll be ready with security guarantee. Really, when I say NATO, it's not about that we are focusing on this word. It's about very understandable infrastructure of security guarantees. And you see that no NATO countries been under attacks.
Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican from South Carolina, he has been a big proponent of you and of Ukraine, said this today after the meeting.
I have never been more proud of the president. I was very proud of J.D. Vance, standing up for our country. We want to be helpful. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. He either needs to resign and send somebody over that we can do business with, or he needs to change.
So he says you need to consider resigning. Is that on the table?
I don't know if he will be happy after my word.
I don't think I've ever heard him speak in English and not think like the partners that are helping him.
This decision can do only people of Ukraine.
You're not going to step down to do a peace deal.
No, I was always ready. I'm not sure that
he already told him he would step down for NATO membership.
It's good.
When Trump declared him a dictator, he said, "Put us in NATO, and I'll step down now."
For such proposals, but anyway, I always said if the United States will support NATO, so I think that is.
It doesn't matter because they just need engagement. It's the same thing that Doge does. Doge comes out and lies about every goddamn thing they talk about. But they get people angry and support it and repeat it. So all they got to do is plant this narrative. He didn't wear a suit and he talked and he was disrespectful, and they'll have their fucking followers will eat it up. Crucify him. He can never come back. We should never support him again. We shouldn't send any money. Russia was right all along. Like, it doesn't matter. They just need a narrative going. Whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. Feed the masses, right? Who the fuck would hire somebody to audit the government who's more concerned with how many retweets they get than finding fraud? Clearly. Or they wouldn't be lying about everything they put out.
Enough for Ukraine. So I think
it's about the narrative and how much momentum they can carry with that narrative.
Did all I had to do, and if somebody is not, this happy with...
If they get enough narrative going their way, even when they do something that normal people would question, right? Like, whoa, that sounds like something that we would hear about in fucking China. They're like, oh, but the momentum's carrying already.
Me, okay, but between us, yes, Americans vote for American president. Each European country vote for their president, and only Ukraine. And with all respect to Lindsey, if I can say Lindsey, we know each other, yes, and only Ukrainians.
Democrats have had the opposite reaction to the Oval Office meeting. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut posted this: "What just happened in the Oval Office was a planned ambush designed to help a brutal Russian dictator and hurt America's security. Trump has become Putin's lapdog, and America's global power is hemorrhaging as America sides with dictators over democracy. What an embarrassment." Do you think the confrontation in the Oval Office today was pre-planned, like Senator?
Even China abstained from the vote. Even China, Russia's greatest partner, right, abstained from the vote to declare Russia the aggressors in invading Ukraine. But not Trump and the U.S. No, we voted with fucking North Korea and Iran, and we're like, nah, I don't know. I don't think Russia was the invaders or the aggressors in the invasion.
Murphy suggests.
I don't know.
You don't know. You think maybe?
I don't know. No. I don't. I mean, I don't know about it. I think no. I think it was just a really tough situation because we've been very open, very direct.
What set you off? What made you mad? Because they said your tenor and tone set that.
It's not about mad. It's not, Brad. You see, how to say? When you are in the United States, and for example, president or vice president or somebody or senators, it doesn't matter, big politicians, yes, when they, for example, say that Ukraine is almost destroyed, that our soldiers run away, that they are not heroes, that Ukraine...
That you don't have enough, you can't win this, you don't have the cards, you're only acting tough because we make you tough. That's a fucking slap in the face, dude, for what they've been able to accomplish, even with support from Europe and America, even with that support. Again, estimates were like 2 days to 2 weeks.
Lost millions of civilians, that his president is dictator, you know? What is the reaction? It's not about me. The reaction is that where is our friendship between Ukraine and the United States? That's it. This is filling, and that's why I do not want to lose our great partners at the United States. And I just said that it's not the first time. I said it by phone, and we had some other conversations, and we had in Munich meetings, and I said, please, be correct. Just, I want to be very polite. I mean this, be correct with this number. When you say about the number, each person is important.
This was definitely the absolute best Fox News host he could have got, right?
About 1 million of losses. We don't have any million of losses. When you speak about the territories, maybe some territories and etc., it's not just territory, it's houses, it's people's lives, you know, their fathers, mother, their relatives, grandfather, they died or during this war. Nobody wants to forgive Putin.
Could you imagine this interview with like fucking Judge Janine?
It's not funny, you know, or fairy tale. This is real life. That's what I said. And when you said it a lot of times to my big friends who've been here today in our dialogue, and then they again begin to repeat the same things, I think it's not. I mean, that's why I said it's not a good way between partners, good partners and friends. That's it. And I think that
we're supposed to be allies, right? And for them to say, hey, like, we need security guarantees. And they're like, you can't tell me what we're going to do. You're losing the war. You're all going to die. We could just pull out and everybody would die. Fucking Jesse Waters, yeah. Jesse Waters thinks it's fucking gay for men to go to the grocery store. He thinks it's a sign of homosexuality to go to the grocery store or drink from a straw. Just like Bert.
If a journalist asking questions to president, with all respect to vice president, I mean, he has his interview. This is our dialogue.
Shouldn't this dynamic, if you're going to be like this, be behind closed doors? Not,
of course.
So do you regret that? Are you regretting that happened today?
I think he legitimately tried to respond, and they just snapped off on him. And then what? It's already there, right?
Regretting this. Yes, I think it was not good. I think it was not good because we had a lot of different dialogues.
It's a win for Russia.
I'm always open to media, but there are very sensitive things. I just want to be honest, and I just want our partners to understand the situation correctly, and I want to understand everything correctly. That's about us.
They have been bleeding Russia. We are knocking on. All they have to do is retreat, pull the troops back, go back to their fucking country.
To lose our friendship.
A couple more things. What are the next steps in your mind? Here we are today. What are the next steps?
I think so. United States wanted this deal. very much. And we were not against this deal, but we wanted to understand what parts in security guarantees will take this deal and what next steps. Just again to understand for our people. During the war, what you don't like, even sometimes hate, surprises. It's understandable. Many terrible things this war brought to us. So we don't want any surprises. Yes, that's why we want to be very fair with our partners. And I think this deal, it was prepared by teams. It was not simple during weeks. And now it's ready. I think that they have to sign. The country.
Russia can't get out of it. Russia is on war footing with war production, with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of young men trained. And when you come back to a country that's ruled like Russia or China or whatever, and the bottom falls out of the economy because we're not producing anything for the war anymore, and everybody's out of work, and you're sitting around with trained fucking killers, the next thing you have is a revolution. Now, you might be able to put it down, right? You might be able to fucking kill everybody in the streets, but it's still not good.
Have to sign. The ministers have to sign. That's it. I don't know when they will do it. It depends on the American side.
So
exactly.
the minerals deal did not have security guarantees listed in it.
It's a part.
The security guarantees?
This is the part in the infrastructure of security guarantees. Because, for example, President Trump said that I think so that if we will be there in some productions and etc. in minerals, that Putin will never come on this territory where we are. And I said to him, don't trust Putin. Why? I said, because it's not, I mean, we respect and we believe in strongness of the United States, but I said to him that we had more than 20 companies, American companies, big companies on the territory of Ukraine, and we had offices even on temporary occupied territories. For Putin, it doesn't matter. It's American or European company or Ukraine, it doesn't matter. He just came and occupied it. That's what I said. I think this is a great idea, how to strengthen Ukraine and how to make business between two countries, how to make additional jobs for two countries, but it's not just this will not save us.
I read what the Democratic senator said, that Trump has become Putin's lapdog. Do you agree with that President Trump is too close to Vladimir Putin in your mind?
Have you guys ever heard, I know that people that watch my show all the time, you guys ever heard about the Battle of Athens here in Tennessee? It happened in 46. Like basically a bunch of soldiers went and fought in the fucking war, come back home, saw corruption in they didn't have jobs, they didn't have pay, the town kind of sucked, there was corruption leading they just overthrew the fucking government, right? Like literal explosives and machine guns and just overthrew the fucking government. Like you can't have idle hands when you have that many troops coming back home. That maybe it's PTSD, maybe it's like, oh, what I saw overseas, or you're not going to fucking treat me like that, I fought this somewhere else. The Battle of Athens was fucking crazy. Was fucking crazy.
We spoke about it, and I think today, very openly, President Trump, he said that I want to be in the middle. Otherwise, I will not put these guys at the
It was all over. They could basically see corruption and election fraud going on. And manipulation, like the guy that was running locally for mayor or whatever had like his henchmen, like fucking around in the ballot boxes and shit. And yeah, it got bad quick.
And is he right?
And not only that, but veterans from other counties heard about it and came there to fight. Like they took over the jail and the courthouse, placed explosives, blew up a couple buildings. Like they took the town over.
I want to be very honest, I want really him to be more at our side. I will explain why. Because it's not just that the war began somewhere between our countries. The war began when Russia brought this war to our country, and they're not right. And they are not right. They didn't respect our territorial integrity. They brought the war on our territory, to our families, sorry for repeating, to our houses. And they're not right. And of course, all the Ukrainians want to hear strong position of the United States on our side. From one side, it's understandable. From another side, he wants to find some way of dialogue with Putin. But he always said, as I remember, he always said that peace through strength. And that's why I think that he's strong, United States strong, two parties together. In this question, two parties always together against Russia. You're very strong to do strong steps against Putin.
Americans are worried about where the money has gone.
Yeah.
Will there be a very rigorous accounting of where the money money has gone? It seems like there is some question about whether there's corruption or sold military equipment.
No, it can't be so. 100 billions we've got during 3 years.
183 from the U.S.
Now, on the paper, in the documents, yes, but we have, in fact, because 67 came like a weapon. It came through the border. It's checked and it's fixed by everybody, and we shared it not once with the American side. And 31.5, it was direct financial support to the budget. Again, it's very open. It's digitalized. It's open, free, and please, if somebody wants to check it again, we are very, very open with this.
Last thing, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Do you think your relationship with Donald Trump, President Trump, after today, can be salvaged?
Can be. Yes, of course, because it's relations more than two presidents. It's the historical relations, strong relations between our people. And that's why I always began with to thank your people, from our people. And this is the most important. And of course, thankful to President and of course to Congress, but first of all to your people. Your people help to save our people. People, the first. Human rights, the first. This is very, very important. And we are thankful. And sorry for this. I mean, we wanted very much to have only strong relations, and I very counted we will have it.
Mr. President, we're honored that you kept this interview. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think he's doing a lot. I mean, he's trying his best to restrain himself. Fuck J.D. Vance. And Trump's so goddamn... He's out of his league. Anytime he talks to anybody in this world, he's out of his fucking league. The very, very dumb, low IQ people were making the deals. I said that? I don't think I said that. I would have never said that. All right, guys, I'm out. It's almost 2 a.m. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being here. Usually Brett's a pretty good Fox News guy. He's one of the better ones, right? When you have fucking lunatics over there, I don't think he should be there, but he does a pretty good job over there. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. If you want to support the show, do it at coldbeer.fund. That's how we keep the show running. We greatly appreciate it. If not, that's cool. Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. A bunch of conspiracy theorists over in Rumble. You don't know what's going on. Sad. Fucking Rumble and Facebook, dude. I don't know where. Come get your grandmas. This is like after Helene hit and some of our family members called in to tell us that it was sad that the government controlled the weather. The fuck out of here. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Support the show at coldbeer.fund. And we'll see you on the next one. Have a good night. Love you. See you. Bye. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. We used to have a bigger audience when I supported Trump, but don't hate me. I've changed now. I'm a changed man.
You don't.
I can't fucking stand him anymore.
To call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the forking balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up.
Oh, I forgot to show you guys this.
Here we go, I think I started some shit.
I was going to pull it up and show it.
About to get lit, get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you
Just stay where you're at. You listen to the music. I'll show it to you.
Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit.
This is what Bama sent when Bart was talking earlier. Ex-pimp, homeless and whoreless. Hashtag pimp lives matter. It's hard out here for a pimp, Bart. Somebody put legend. Get Austin to put Bart's face on there. That's my Uncle Joe. He's a good man now. Recovering. Have a good night, guys.
If he did, he get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit.
I wouldn't. You'd have to ask Mariah about the cup. She stole it.
You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit.
I haven't seen it, but that one night.
Get lit, get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped it to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16.
Good night, guys.
Amphetamine with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops.